In this lesson, we will learn how to create solid objects. All 3D objects that we created in previous lessons consisted of lines and surfaces. In this lesson, I will show you how to convert a set of lines and surfaces into solid objects. So, let's get started. I will activate the rectangle tool from the toolbar on the left to create a rectangle. Firstly, I will define the first point of the rectangle by clicking somewhere in the drawing area. Then, I will type the number 5, a semicolon, then the number 6, and press enter. Once I finish with the rectangle, I will activate the push-pull tool and extrude the rectangular surface. I will type the number 3 to set the height and press enter. At this point, I will press space once to activate the select tool. Notice now that I can individually select any side of the object or any edge of the object. In reality, this object is hollow at the moment. It's high time I showed you how to turn this object into a solid. First, I have to select all the faces and edges of the object. Next, I will right-click on it, and from the menu that appears, I will select the Make Component option. The Create Component dialog window appears automatically, containing all the necessary settings for creating solids. You can define a name for the solid in the Definition field, add a description in the Description field, set its alignment from the Alignment options, and also define some other attributes such as the price, the size, and the type of the object. At the bottom of the dialog, there is the Replace the selection with a component option. When this option is enabled, the selected object will be replaced by a solid. In this example, I will not deactivate this option, and I will set the name box 5x6 for the solid. In the description field, I will type the phrase height 3. Once I am done, I will click Create. Now, notice that in the Entity Info tab of the default tray, the phrase Solid Component appears. In addition, the name of the solid as well as its volume are displayed in the Definition and Volume fields, respectively. To see more details about the object, I can click on the Show Advanced Attributes icon. Since I had not defined any of these attributes when I created the solid, these fields are not defined. At this point, I will show you how to edit a solid object. While the object is selected, I will right-click on it and select the Edit Component option. Now, I can select the sides and edges of the object. I want to increase the solid's length by 2 meters and its width by 1 meter. Therefore, I will activate the Push-Pull tool from the toolbar. I will click on the right surface, move the cursor to the right, type the number 2, and press enter. Then, I will click on the front surface, move the cursor to the front, type the number 1, and press enter. When I no longer want to change anything, I will press the spacebar to activate the Select tool and then somewhere in the drawing area to exit the object editing mode. Another way to edit a solid object is to double-click on it. All the component objects that you create are saved in the current file, and you can import them into the scene as many times as you want. To do this, I need to expand the Components tab in the default tray. As you can see, the box I created appears there, and I can click on it and drag it into the scene. Before we finish the lesson, I should mention that if you edit a certain component, the copies that you have imported into the scene will be affected.